fired up the old trade machine of, trying to like trade half your roster for like a Devin Booker or like a Zion. I know Mathis in the chat said, "What about Jarren Jackson Jr.?"
No.
I mean, I think your head is in the right spot when you talk about the archetype.
Yeah.
I think that's what Trajan's looking for.
Yeah.
I just don't know if it's on the price point that the organization would be comfortable with, because let's just play hypothetical. Because Matt has asked about Jarren Jackson Jr.
Mm-hmm.
My only thing with Triple J is he's in a very expensive deal. Obviously, he's not going to get paid as much because he didn't hit his incentives. But my only thing is you'd be in the same situation that the Memphis Grizzlies are currently in right now.
Right.
Like, you're putting yourself in the apron to bring in a guy that can hit threes. He rebounds when he feels like it, which why I don't really like the Jarren Jackson Jr. name. I'm sure you see it all the time, especially offseason scrolling the timeline. Like, I think the idea of him sounds better on paper than what it actually would be, because you're probably going to have to give up multiple first. You're probably going to have to give up guys that you may not want to give up, because I'm telling you right now, they probably asked for Asar as the first person they probably asked for. Maybe Stu, maybe Duran, multiple first. I think the price point for Jarren Jackson Jr. will be a little bit too steep for what the Pistons want to do. It might not, happen this season or this offseason. It might be, next summer where Trajan has a better idea of like what this team currently is, because I think he just needs a little bit more time to see what he has, and he kind of got cut short with Jaden Ivey. He doesn't really know what he has in Jaden Ivey. Just the way I looked at this season, for the Pistons was evaluation, and he even mentioned like I got to evaluate more because I really don't know what I have, and I don't think he wants to trade someone away. And it comes back to bite him in the ass. Like those his comments with his oppressor that you were there for. Like that's the way I took it. Like when there's a move to be made for me to get an all-star or a star next to Cade, we'll make those moves. It's probably going to be in the trade market because free agency is really hard to land those stars. But like I think Jarren Jackson Jr., I like the idea of it. I think your head is in the right place with the archetype stretch four. They could rebound and protect the paint a little bit, but I just think the price for it is a little bit too high for my liking.
Yeah, that's the part that's really bothering me. His rebounding is just really confusing for the big that he is. He's still dealing with a lot of foul trouble too, which is kind of crazy at his level. Like he's not like Jalen Duren, who's in his second, third year, still trying to figure things out. Like you're an all-star now, buddy. You shouldn't still, like Draymond talked about it in the game they played against him last in the regular season. Like he shouldn't still be dealing with foul trouble and like some of those rookie issues that he's dealing with. Now I think the bright side to maybe bring in somebody like him is the coaching that can unlock that, because we just saw JB unlock the best defensive season in Tobias Harris's career. And he's never been known as some lockdown defender or even like as a, over reliable defender as a, in his career. But I think the right coaching, the right culture around you can kind of make that change. But again, the fouling and some of the inconsistencies do bother me a little bit. And you're trying to find, the consistent pieces to change all of that. And again, the archetype makes sense. The name makes sense. Obviously, MSU guy, but I don't know. I just feel like you can get a little bit, almost like you can get a little, because we don't know what they can get. But I just feel like there's a better name out there, maybe, or maybe you just need to take a little bit more time to figure it out before rushing for that specific name just because it fits the archetype. Like for right now, again, people are going to want to crash out for the all-star. I think they could just still maybe just reach for a couple guys that aren't maybe all-star level, but still fill in that need of that area, that stretch four. Like if Sacramento says they want to blow it up and Keegan Murray is on the block, that's a number one name I would love. Like I think guys like that will make a lot more sense. Jabari, maybe he doesn't, see eye to eye with what Houston is doing anymore. Maybe you can take a flyer on him. I feel like people don't like the idea of reclamation projects. Sean Murphy, I heard y'all talk about it last episode, but I feel like these reclamation projects that have been brought up aren't as damaged or limited as guys like Marvin Bagley and James Wiseman were. Like Wiseman couldn't shoot. Wiseman didn't have the best footwork, bad defender. Bagley, basically the same thing. Jabari Smith doesn't really have that same kind of style to his game. I feel like you can still round out a little bit more of that without relying on him as being like your number 2 guy. If he's your number 3 or 4, as you know, Cade and Ivy are playing at an all-star level, you can work with that. And then have Beasley coming off the bench averaging 16, 17 a game. There's a style where that works, and you like make that sufficient for him. But yeah, I don't think they're in a position where they need to just dive out for a guy like Jarren Jackson Jr. just because you made the playoffs. I still think they can kind of reach around, you know, in the bargain area and, you know, see what Cade can bring out of those guys. Yeah, I think that's the beauty of them being so young and in the position that they're in right now based on the franchise timeline.
Yeah, I mentioned like last week, I mentioned Bull, which I got a lot of pushback on it, which I understand.
Mm-hmm.
I mentioned Chris Boucher, which I don't think a lot of people realize. Like, he actually had a really good season shooting from 3, shot like 36, 37% from 3. That could be a really low, like a buy low option. If you guys follow me on Instagram, I did a collaboration post with NBA Trade Center of kind of like outlining like what a dream offseason would be. I did a mock trade with the Utah Jazz to get John Collins. Like, I know the Pistons organization. I mean, they've been trying to get John Collins since the Andre Drummond days.
Yeah.
He's on an expiring deal. Who knows what Danny Ainge and Utah want for him, because they have Taylor Hendricks, who they drafted, who I thought would, do a little bit better. But I mean, John Collins kind of bounced back to reality. He had one of his better seasons with the Utah Jazz. John Collins would be a really fun, intriguing piece. He's a lob threat. He can score in the post. He can score from the outside. Maybe you kind of look at that option. His contract is the only situation where you're kind of like, you'd have to either do a sign-in trade or either trade one of the players on your roster that maybe you don't want to, because he's on a $27 million cap hit for the final year of his deal. But maybe that's a buy low option the Pistons look at. Like, I think a John Collins and a Cade Cunningham and a Jalen Jarrell would be so much fun.
Yeah, I'm not opposed to that at all. I didn't love it when he was with Atlanta to an extent, just because I thought it was maybe a little bit more inconsistent. But the jump shot has kind of stayed there. He only played 40 games with Utah last season, but I mean, I like it. I like his upside, and I like his fit with this team. Again, I think with the buy-in on the defensive end, I think is going to come to reap the benefits with them being able to play in transition as well. Super athletic, he plays above the rim. I think he kind of fits that mold as well. And again, it's a quick term option as well, based on what you're looking for. You see where things go this year. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work, and it's not going to kill you in terms of what you've given up. Like, he's not going to be a price point that's going to like destroy your roster, destroy your foundation. Might cost you a couple pieces, but I don't think it's going to be too much where I think people are going to be, over the moon about bringing him onto this team. I think he does fit. Again, I would like to see them try to find somebody that pushes Tobias Harris to that bench role, in the next year or two. And I'm not mad at that name at all. I definitely saw some of that pushback. Bol, I'm not even mad at either, just based on what their need is, based on how he plays on both ends of the floor. I'm not mad at it at all. Again, this isn't a time right now where they need to plunge for the star for the next 4 years or whatever it's going to be. Like, I just think they can find something cheap to kind of hold them over, for the short term while they're still figuring out who they are.
Yeah, I agree. I know Mr. Ray kind of pointed out that Trajan was like really when he was looking to go after guys, health is a big concern, which I think is a very valid point to bring up. Collins' health is the biggest concern. I agree there. I mean, like, we're just talking about trying to upgrade the power forward position where you're not just draining your assets completely. John Collins got traded for like a second round pick to Utah because the contract was atrocious. I don't think the trade I did, I thought was an overpay, because I'm talking with this guy and he thinks that I had to throw in a first. I don't even think you have to throw in a first to get at John Collins. I think you could just do a sign and trade and try to get the salaries to match, and Utah would be happy to get rid of them because they're just kind of in a rebuilding phase, and they're going to get the 5th overall pick. Hate to see it. We've all been there, but